Good morning, everybody. We are officially in season. Going to face the Ohio State Buckeyes. I've been researching them. Should be a fun matchup. Today's going to be awesome as well. As promised, right before camp started, we gave you guys depth charts, went through every position. We said we would circle back after camp and talk about that. So we're going to go through the offense and the defense. You're going to know exactly what's going on with this team. You are going to be the most educated fan at the water cooler. Good morning, Roaster. AR, you are correct, sir.
Yeah.
Guess what, guys? Come to InsideTexas.com. Incredible game analysis from Ian and Paul. Recruiting always on lock with Coach Dub, Justin, Eric, and then also team news. Justin will give you a little bit. Eric will give you a lot of bit. And as well, Ian gets some. Coach gets some. People are contributing on that front. So, guys, come to InsideTexas.com. You can get Inside Texas for $1 for your first week. As a bonus, your membership includes a complimentary year to The Athletic. Also, we want you to come celebrate with us our 40th anniversary tour. This Tuesday, tomorrow, we will be in Houston at Big City Wings starting at 5. All of the addresses and information is in the description below. Wednesday, we follow that up with our DFW meetup, Katy Trail Icehouse. Be there at 5. I will be at that one. Come say what's up. Thursday, back in Austin at Little Woodrow's, happy hour starting at 5. Once again, all addresses in the description. And hey, if you're not an IT subscriber, that's all good. If you're a channel subscriber or just want to come say what's up, everybody is welcome.
Hey, Coach Dub needs to find his way over to that Dallas one. He's sneaking out the back door. Tell Mom we got to go to the store and pick up some milk.
I'm definitely
right. And do not forget to get Paul's book, guys. You're running out of time here. 2025 Longhorn Football Prospectus. Thanking Texas Football, the best update on the team breakdown. And also, you don't got to do it all before the season. There's SEC opponent matchups you can read before each game going forward, as well as a piece from Eric on recruiting. And Paul, of course, the NIL new world of money-based college football. All links are in the description to buy digital and physical. Hell yeah, boys.
Yeah.
I'm excited. We finally are here.
It's about time.
Look at that graphic.
I know. Let's not waste any time. Our boy Will was able to make this depth chart for us. We appreciate you. Looks awesome. And we're going to go by each position. You're going to know exactly what's up. Let's start offensive line. And let's start with left tackle Trevor Gooseby. Had a little precautionary thing. What's going on there with Gooseby?
Well, I mean, not precautionary. He had the legit injury that he's just going to play through it. Ohio State, well, a lot of people already know what it is, but Ohio State can figure out what the issue is in real time, and we're not going to really talk about it a whole lot, but he's going to play, and I imagine he's going to play well. It's not really one of those injuries that I would, be super concerned about. It's not something that I think is going to bother him in October, November, that sort of thing. So that's not a huge problem. And we should have a disclaimer here that this is not the team's actual depth chart. Steve Sarkisian doesn't like to put one out for the first week. After the first week, there's plenty of game tape. Other teams can do it, figure it out, so they'll put out their own depth chart. But this is how we project it, but I feel pretty dang good about it.
Cool. All right, so Trevor Gooseby, left tackle, and then right behind him right here, Jaden Chapman, kind of the swing tackle as well after we lose Kojo. So what are we hearing? What's the latest on Chapman? Is he up to speed yet? What's going on?
Well, I mean, he's been up to speed. He's been in the program for 3 years, so he knows what to do. There's no doubt about that. He knows what to do. He hasn't played a lot. Obviously, experience is a very important factor into playing well, especially early on in your career. And, you have to get it over time. And you take your lumps. We've seen a lot of players pick it up real quick. Some others take a couple of years even. I think he's going to be okay, but I can't say much more than that. He's not going to be going up against Colin Simmons and Ethan Burke every weekend, so that's good. We'll see a lot of him in September. I think Gooseby's going to get a lot of rest in September because, like I said, it is a real issue that he's dealing with. It's just not enough to keep him out against Ohio State. So we'll get a lot better idea of Jaden Chapman. And then I got Jordan Coleman after him. That is kind of a guess because, he came in May or early June. I put him there because, man, you're a left tackle until you're a right tackle, and you're a right tackle till you're a guard. They need left tackles right now. They need any kind of tackles right now. So might as well just keep him over there and work with him there. But I'm not 100% sure if he's there, but we're not going to see him this year no matter what. They would reshuffle the line 100 different ways before Jordan Coleman was out there.
Coach, what's the latest on Coleman?
Look, I asked to see what position those guys would be in, but haven't got anything back. But man, kind of like Eric said, I think he's a little bit taller than his brother Devin, so he fits that tackle, being a little taller, a little longer arms. But man, look, it's all about getting work for those guys. They're going to have a great year on scout team, learning the position, learning how to play college football at this speed of the speed of college football. Just kind of get it acclimated to it. So I think you see those two maybe next year competing to play for some snaps. We'll see. I mean, in a rotation anyway, in 2 deep.
Cool. Left guard, Neto Umeazulu. We know he's got the mean streak. What other factors to his game are you looking forward to? Or
well, it's all about consistency with him being assignment sound. That's number one, first and foremost. They're still working on a number of different line combinations in practice. This is the starters as we know it. And we feel good about right now. That's who they'd start, but they are working a bunch of different combinations in practice. Now, some of that could be whether or not they're trying to get people to play better, or if they're planning for in case of emergency they have to shuffle the line due to an injury, or somebody just playing so poorly they have to be replaced. But right now we've got him at left guard. But like I said, we've talked about this a lot. Connor Robertson could play center, Cole Hudson could play guard, maybe even Connor Robertson could play guard. They still have Nate Kibble, Connor Stroh there too. But yeah, it's hard for me to really vouch for Neto outside of the physical attributes are obviously there. The temperament is there, but as far as, being where it's supposed to be on each block, you miss one block, the whole play, 10 guys can do the right job. One guy can do the wrong job and the play gets blown up. Coaches are not keen on that.
All right. And then depth, we've got the younger Nate Kibble, who we think has a bright future. But what's for Nate and Devin Coleman? What's the word right now?
No, I don't. Devin's the same as Jordan Coleman. When I get a source on the phone, the last thing I'm going to do is talk about a late enrollee, third string, 18-year-old offensive lineman. It's just not that that's a waste of time. Kibble is, he does have a bright future, but that's the future. We're talking about the present right now. I'm not sure how excited they would be to play him. That's why we're talking about, Connor Robertson playing center and Cole Hudson could play guard. They want experience, and it's kind of a catch-22. How do you get experience without playing? That's a tough spot for a younger player to be in. Gradually is typically like how they like players to gain experience. I don't think we'll see a ton of Nate Kibble this season outside of September, where I hope we see a lot of them. But who knows how he'll look in September? That's valuable game reps. If he plays really well in September, we might see him more later in the season. But if we're talking about Ohio State, we're not going too deep if we're talking about the Ohio State game.
Cool. Center, the mind of the offensive line, making calls, making sure people are in the right spot. We've talked about the importance. I don't hear fans often talk about it, IT, of course, but Connor Robertson's a really big piece here because he allows flexibility for us if he can step into the center role, like Eric said, and allows Cole Hudson to do some guard stuff if need be. First things first, I want to talk Cole Hudson. How is he on consistency, knowing the scheme, all the intangible centery stuff?
We've heard of no negatives about him, really. Obviously every player makes some mistakes, but nothing that seems chronic or thematic where it just happens every practice. They're very excited about him, actually. We've heard that he's played well. He's got all the calls down. Most the guards typically know the calls, or at least they should. Mm-hmm. It's not a huge difference. It's not a big difference. It's not a big difference in the look that you're getting. A lot of times you're getting help from the center. Now you're helping the guard. It's not a huge shift in duties. Now, of course, you do have to remember snap count, and there's a lot going on at once. But we're not talking about a true freshman. He's played a lot of football. They feel good about him, and same with Connor Robertson.
Cool. All right, right guard DJ Campbell, of course, one of the most well-known players on the team. Didn't always live up to that, though. As far as execution, there were some times where Georgia would purposely run games to that Cam Williams, DJ Campbell side and try to get them to mess up. We've heard that his leadership has improved tremendously, and he stepped up. Where are we at with DJ Campbell? Is this one of the players you expect to see a jump for?
I think, he's going to play better than he played last year for sure. One source put him on the 10 best players on the team after spring football, but I just ran that exercise again yesterday. I'm going to write it up here in a little bit. He was omitted from the new list of top 10, but now it's a really loaded team. There's going to be about 15 players in the top 10. It's hard to fit them all in. It's a tough exercise. It's also from a team source standpoint, it's a stupid exercise, but it's just trying to give everybody a baseline understanding of who's emerging and who we can expect big things from. But I still think, Campbell's going to have a good season.
Cool. Any single notes on Connor Stroh?
Connor Stroh, big guy, plays hard, smart player. I don't think we'll see him a ton this season, but again, if Nato doesn't play up to expectations, they're going to have to do something. And so I don't know. Could be Kibble, could be Connor Robertson, could be Cole Hudson. I don't know. I'm not really ruling out those guys that have been in the program for 3 years. Well, Kibble, this is only his second year, but Stroh, it's his third year. There's a lot of guys that have at least been in the program for a long time that might deserve a shot.
Mm-hmm. Ugh. All right, and then right tackle, we have Brandon Baker, and then of course the young Nick Brooks, who was doing some battling as well. So, how do you feel at right tackle overall? And then give us your sourced notes on those players individually.
I feel good about Brandon Baker. There's I'm not saying he's going to set the world on fire this year, but I think he's going to be pretty good. I haven't heard a whole lot of concerns about Baker for this season. Maybe not the excitement that we've heard about with Trevor Gooseby. Even going back to last season on Gooseby, but he's going to be a pretty good player. Nick Brooks, true freshman. I think he's the fourth tackle. We got a question in here about his honest question. Is Nick Brooks a swing tackle? People don't usually preface such a simple question with honest question. Like,
I don't want to offend, but is he a swing tackle?
Yeah, I mean, if he would have asked that without the honest question, I would have assumed it was an honest question. But Nick Brooks, wait, what's your real motive here, AR?
Right.
Yeah, Nick Brooks is fourth tackle. Super, super bright future. But again, we don't want to talk about the future on this episode because you got Ohio State in less than a week. So let's see him in September, and I'll get to learn a lot about him. They love his upside. They think he's a future early round draft pick. He came in and did a lot of things right as far as embracing the culture and working hard. But we don't want to see this guy anytime soon. Let's outside of Sam Houston State, San Jose State, UTEP. That's great, but we don't want to see him going up against third and fourth year college players.
What happened with all the Brooks hype? Chapman just came on late. I think it's just maturity. One player's been there around, and the other hasn't.
Yeah, one gets you really excited about athleticism and upside, and the other one gets you excited about assignment soundness and being ready to play right now.
Yeah, and it's got to be assignment soundness,
Definitely.
especially. So Blake Bryan points out O-line depth is scary this year.
It was scary coming into August. It got worse with the Kojo injury, and they need luck like they had in 2023. I don't know if it's going to happen, but the blessing is that they can manufacture depth in the interior because of Connor Robertson, and Cole Hudson can play either guard spot. So I'm not really worried about the guards, but yeah, tackle is a concern. But if Jaden Chapman is just league average, they'll be okay.
Cool. Yeah, but we just cannot afford any more losses, and that's
Boston Wood's not going.
That can be a tough ask in the SEC. All right. So, and also globally, what are we hearing about their ability in the run game, pass blocking? How's the unit performing?
Pass blocking is a little bit tough to get it. Well, even run and pass is a little tough to get a barometer for because they're going up against such a good offensive or defensive line. The edges, of course, are really good. The D tackles are good. The best information I have there is the coaches are optimistic that the O-line is going to be pretty good and that they are able to run the ball, not in big chunks. They're not breaking off 30 yards, 40 yards, but 5-10 yards more consistently. They're not getting tackled a lot behind the line of scrimmage. Running backs are able to get downhill a little bit. They're getting a little bit of running room. Now, once you take the donut off the bat, like we talked about, they're going to be going up against even Ohio State's defensive line is not going to be as good as Texas's. So I'm cautiously optimistic on them in the run game. And then pass blocking, I think Baker and Gooseby are really good at that. And then if you got a running back that can help the interior, this should be fine. But the whole thing is being able to run the ball and just or being able to throw the ball to set up the run. Something has to work consistently, and I think they're going to figure that out. But again, it's all about health. If they have a bad run of injuries, it could be something that really hurts their chances of winning it all.
Interior depth on the defensive line is still a big question for Ohio State. They have their two starters. After that, it's a little bit dicey, and the run defense is going to be questioned too as far as the interior. So hopefully, if their starters are playing 30 or 40, you have opportunities with their depth. Losing Hero Kanu was a far bigger deal than I think they realized at the time.
And then Texas took every other D tackle on the market too. So they not only stole from them, then they played keep away.
1000%.
Sure
So, all
is.
right, guys, next we're going to do receivers, running backs, and of course, quarterbacks. But first, I got to tell you something. Some things just go better together. Burgers and fries, Friday nights in football, and now Academy Sports and Outdoors and Whataburger. For a limited time, exclusive Academy and Whataburger tailgate gear is coming in hot. Fuel your pre- and post-game traditions with fan styles and game day gear that say, I tailgate like I mean it. Hurry, this exclusive collaboration won't hang around long. Dig in now at Academy Sports and Outdoors, where fun can't lose. Our boy Joe Cook went over by the old Academy, got him a Academy Whataburger football that his little sweet daughter was playing with. So you can go check it out, guys. You guys are Texans. You know what's up with Whataburger.
Yeah, I was there the other day. That stuff was everywhere.
I was there 2 days ago getting jealous. So Academy is the spot. Okay.
Let's tackle that one. This one first.
Yeah.
All
so we are doing this depth chart based on traditional role. So a wide receiver X is generally going to be known as your boundary receiver.
Right.
And so Ryan Wingo
just for clarity, I'm doing it how they did it last year. So I don't know. I've got to talk to Ian about how he's got.
Ian switches them, I think, from some diagrams that he has. So I think
I'll talk to him. This is how they would have it if they were doing it how I have it.
But it's also X is your boundary guy.
Right.
So Ian gets a little bit more in the weeds sometimes on things. But just know boundary and then field. Yeah,
Ian's talking about football in 2040, but with diagrams from 1980.
Yeah. So that's going to be the trick. If you guys go check out the Ian and Eric debate, that was a fun video. We released it yesterday. Y'all will like it. Okay, let's go to running back. So Trey Wisner or CJ Baxter as your lead horses. Let's talk about them first. I mean, I don't know what we haven't said 1,000 times. Like, you're going to get Trey Wisner as a leader on the team. He plays all of that stuff, weight gain, that. But how has Trey looked in practice besides all the intangibles?
Well, this is going to be interesting, actually, because we got a little change of course here. He was just named, that source put him in the top 10 players, which tells me a lot about what we heard about CJ Baxter this August, is that they clearly they had Wisner on a pitch count in August, and that was to get Baxter up to speed. So Trey Wisner listed in the top 10 is a big deal to me. That gives me clarity that, he had a quiet August as far as I could tell, but that was just clearly they just had him on a pitch count. So bigger. He's bigger, more explosive. I'm really excited to see what Trey looks like healthy, and with a little bit more weight and some experience. He was so beat up at the end of last season. Now he's healthy. It's going to be exciting to see what he does. And then Baxter, I put the or there just because I know how much Sark loves Baxter. I think those two are going to get the lion's share of carries. That's pretty obvious. Trey I would be shocked if Trey didn't run out there with the ones, and then Baxter gets probably equal carries throughout the game.
How's Baxter looking, man?
Good.
That kind of stuff.
Yeah, good. I'm like I said, there were 15 players named in the top 10, maybe 18 that were at least got some sort of mention. I'll talk about Baxter in that one. He had a good camp. Now, I'm not saying he's 100% back. If you go back to look how quick he was as a freshman, he's a different guy now. Not just the knee injury; he's just a lot bigger too. But I'm expecting them to have a good year. I could see him having 800 yards.
Yeah, when we got the spring clips of him running, he didn't look like he was back to form in that regard. But like Eric said, coming off a year of not being able to work out, he's bigger now, all those kind of things. Might even change play style a little bit. Okay, and then Christian Clark. This is the player that I'm most excited to see. I love his running style. We say that he looks like Bijan, how he moves, and he does. So Christian Clark to me is the running back that I'm most excited to see perform. What's the latest there?
Yeah, he's the most dynamic running back. Pretty much the same thing I've been saying since they got him. Amazingly, we're hearing it after an Achilles tear. I never would have guessed that. Yeah, I don't think he's going to get a ton of carries Saturday, which this depth chart is mainly focused on that game. We'll see. Maybe he gets a change of pace look in the second quarter. I don't know. He's the type of guy I'd want to get a screen to, but we'll see how it goes. I expect big things from him this season. It's just this game. He doesn't have a lot of experience. Like Sark said, he's really a freshman now. He missed his true freshman year. We saw how Jarrett Gibson really made a lot of freshman mistakes. Now, Clark was able to watch, and, you don't expect him to have a rough go of it like if he was coming in totally brand new. But he still doesn't have any game experience. So I don't think we're going to see him get maybe we'll see him get a carry or two against Ohio State. But I'm not expecting a lot out of him for this game, but I am expecting him to make some big plays. He's probably going to break off Sam Houston or somebody, and everybody's going to want to see a lot more of him. That's how it tends to go during when they're playing lesser competition. But the coaches are seeing him play like for like against the Texas D line, like Wisner and Baxter, and so we have him at third right now.
And then you said you wanted to see Clark get screens, but a guy that could do that as well is Ryan Niblett. And he can specifically be in that 21 two back situation. He has ability to flex into the slot. He can do, it's like a Keelan Robinson thing, but less gadgety, right? More of the true skill set. So Ryan Niblett, also a player that they moved to like 15 different positions, not to get him to transfer, which is normally the move, is because they loved him that much and they were trying to find any way to get him on the field back in that running back room, but can play this kind of hybrid receiver running back role. So what's up there, Eric?
Yeah, I think he's as much of a receiver as he is a running back. I only call him a running back because it is 21 personnel when he's out there, but it can, one shift and it's turning into an entirely different look. But he's got the toughness to play running back. He's got the speed that you want playing wide receiver. And then, in the screen game, I like Clark in the screen game when you're running just 11 or 12 personnel. Yeah. But if you go to 21, Niblett's going to be very dangerous. They really love him, the complete football player. My concern is he would have really good hands for a DB. I don't know if he has good hands for a wide receiver. We'll see. But he's got the toughness and the speed, and he's one of the. If you look at, you're talking about Wisner, Baxter, and Niblett. That's three of Sark's favorite players on the team, on the entire team.
Yeah. So weird how we just keep like getting culture guys at running back. That's a position you normally don't, and we have it all the time. And then if you see Ryan Niblett on the field, alarm bells should go off.
He's going to cause teams to call timeout. Somebody in the opposing press box will be hollering 21 personnel, and then he's going to motion to receiver, line up on some linebacker, poor safety, and it's like, all right, timeout. I can't cover this guy, right? So he's going to have a lot of chess match going on.
Still the fastest guy on the team.
Yeah, and remember when Keelan Robinson came on, it was a dead giveaway, but it didn't matter. At one point, Keelan Robinson had like 7 carries and 4 touchdowns. It was like, even when you know what's up, Sark still does these ways of getting you tricked. We touched on Gibson a little bit, struggled last year in pass pro, fumbling. Heard a lot about him early spring, like that he might, be the one that they're trying to get to a starter level, and it just didn't seem to happen. Any final thoughts there, Eric?
Well, he's a better player than he was a year ago. It's not really anything that he did. It's just, Trey got healthy and got better. Baxter came back healthier, faster than people anticipated, and certainly Clark did the same. So, lots changed since February prognostications that didn't pan out. But he's a lot better. He's a better player than he was last year, and they could win a lot of football games with. They could honestly. If the rest of the offensive line and the offense is doing its job, you can win a national championship with Jarrett Gibson starting as long as the passing game is as good as we think it'll be.
Cool. And then Eric's very focused on the current, so I don't want to talk about the future being bright. But what do you think about the 2 freshmen back?
James Simon is a really good prospect as far as complete back. He's got a little bit of Jarrett and a little bit of Christian. He can run inside like Jarek. He can run outside like Clark. So they're excited about him. He's got pretty good hands. And then Ricky Stewart is that typical guy that's, he's going to earn his way on special teams first, like Trey Wisner did, like Keelan Robinson did, but he'll have a chance to get carries, as the chart's going to have to thin out a little bit more. He's going to have to learn the playbook better and just keep developing. But he's a guy that's going to make an impact on special teams first.
Cool. Garrett Blaylock asks, could y'all see a world where Texas commits to just running vertically against Ohio State due to their weakness, interior D-line, and our strength, interior O-line? Do you agree with the premise, Eric?
I think they're going to try. Yeah, you're going to test that out. Now, I'm not saying they're going to try that on the first. Sark likes to throw the ball, Tinker throw it wide, see what kind of looks he's going to get. Right. But I think that's going to be a focus of the entire game. I don't know if that's going to be, that's going to be what they want to get to. I think I think they feel like they can get to a point where that plays a part, especially like what Connor was outlining earlier, where the D tackles are pretty good for Ohio State as far as the starters go. But beyond that, so you want to get that into the fourth quarter and hopefully choke them out like Texas and Jonathan Brooks did against Alabama in 23.
Yeah, this is an investment strategy. So you might be frustrated earlier there, but you're trying to get reps spent on their starters. So in the second half, there's less of that. What was also funny is, I've been studying a lot of Ohio State, listening to their stuff, and they're funny. They're like, it might be tough out there for the D-line with the heat, and the heat means like 80 degrees. And it just makes me laugh whenever you hear about the northern schools. Like, might be tough out there at 75 degrees. So that's something. But, yeah. Okay. Running back, check. Let's talk quarterback. Arch Manning, what's the latest notes? We heard some like, look, man, like, let's wait for this to gel a little bit early. I don't know if that's a backup, because we were hearing H word earlier. It seems like it's gotten a little bit more sober as we've gone throughout camp. So kind of,
I think it can be both within the same season. He's not getting a ramp up against 3 patsies and then playing Ohio State. He's getting Ohio State right out of the gate. So if I sit there and start talking, he can be a Heisman finalist, and he comes in and goes, 13 for 24 with a touchdown and a pick. That's not a Heisman season. I don't want to hear that. But he's going to have a good season. Yeah, he's going to be. There's going to be some mistakes. I'm encouraged by the fact that he's done a really good job taking care of the football. They still want him to sort of take what's there more often. He's looking to make a big play a lot, and so when you look to make big plays, mistakes tend to be more frequent. But he's going to be good. I feel really confident in him. Making the big play when it's there, even when, especially when Sark dials it up. Texas missed a lot of plays that were there in the past that should have been executed that were not. A lot of those times came at pretty crucial points in the games that they could have made it a 3-score game. And then Texas finds itself in a grudge match when it shouldn't have been. I think he's going to make a lot more big plays than we've seen in the past. There's going to be there's going to be some mistakes. A lot of people talk about Quinn like he never made any mistakes. He made a lot of, he made some untimely interceptions. A lot of balls got batted down that Sark had his back on and said, well, it's just football. Well, that's not just football. I watch a lot of football, and it's not common to have so many tipped interceptions. That's more about the release point. I think we're going to see less stuff like that, less of the really aggravating things. But he's going to make some inexperienced mistakes at times. But overall, he's going to be really good. I think he's going to help improve the red zone tremendously. I think he's going to help. I think he's going to help get the run game going, being a +1. I'm really excited to see him. I'm not backing off of him being a Heisman contender, but again, my focus right now is Ohio State, not what it looks like in December. He's not going to have. He's going to be a lot different player in October and November than he is on Saturday.
And defensive backs at Ohio State are good, and that's not just me saying Caleb Downs, therefore the defensive backs are good. Jermaine Matthews should be good at corner. New starter, but a ton of reps. Igbinosun, if he can quit fouling everyone, he'll be good. That'll be the trick. And then at safety, opposite McLean or Hartford. So they have 3 guys at safety. So Ohio State's going to have a good defensive back room. That also is going to matter in this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, they've just got, even if they're not good players, they're all good athletes. Sure. Even if they're just an average player, they're still a good athlete.
Yeah, that's the fun part about Ohio State. Because they're only returning like truly 3 guys on defense, and then some of them are young, so you'll go watch their huddle and you're like, okay, yeah, high 4-star. So yeah, the players are there. They might be new, but there's nobody that seems like a total liability in that defensive back room.
Yeah, curious to see how much they throw young Sanchez out there as a freshman corner.
Yeah, we should mention that Arch is probably more. We always talk about the bombs and all that. He's a more accurate passer than people realize. He could be, this will tie in when we talk about Caldwell, but he could get a little bit quicker processing the RPO game, and probably a little quicker processing overall. That's going to come. We saw that the strides he made last year between his first start and his second start. So imagine how much better he's going to be after this game.
Well, and Mississippi State was the one, not just because he did well, the team did everything to lose that game, like penalties, dumb stuff, and Arch just wasn't having it. And that's why that one was super heartening, because it's like even when things were going wrong, Arch was finding a way to make things right. And that was really important for me to see. Okay, and then, of course, Texas fans, as always, care deeply about arguing the quarterback room. Let's talk through Caldwell and Owens, what the or means, and does that or change based on the situation in which they come in, that kind of stuff. So first, let's talk Caldwell.
Well, I base this on predicting what Texas would do. And that would be a Texas thing right here to put an or between those two. Yeah. Caldwell, to me, is the backup, especially against Ohio State. Now, if it was San Jose State in third quarter, or let's say they're even trying to put away the Buckeyes, or let's say just, obviously this is, pie in the sky, but it's fourth quarter and Texas is up 24. It's not going to happen, but who would go in? I don't know. But in a key situation, I think Caldwell would go in because of his experience and the ability to rely on a set skill set where, Trey Owens would be a projection, being able to rely on Trey in that situation. And you'd have to project that with Caldwell, that he can go in and run the RPO game at a high level. He can use his legs, and at the same time, he can still hit the deep shot. So I think it's Caldwell right now. I'm not sure if it's always going to be Caldwell this season. And
he came in with good leadership. And then what we've heard too is that he's an intelligent player. He knows what's up.
Yeah, he's a savvy kid. He's got, moxie might be the right word for him because he did come from Troy. It's not like he's a stud, but he does have some traits. He's got some size to him. He's operating the RPO game maybe even better than Arch. So that would be the reason right there. You would just go with him and and rely on that to a pretty good extent. That's you still have that. If you can get that guy just distributing the ball to athletes, that's a win.
Yeah. To me, it's if Arch has to tie his shoe for whatever reason, Campbell or Caldwell comes in. If you're up 30, maybe it's Trey. I don't know, but that's kind of the trick there. And then young KJ Lacey, man, he did some good things in camp.
He's good. He's a solid player, probably ahead of where most freshmen are. Just, we don't want to see him. And, we got a lot of defense to talk about. So we haven't even talked about the wide receivers yet. So, I can't, KJ is going to be a good player.
All right. Before we go, guys, let's hear a word from Andre the lawyer.
This video is brought to you by Andre the lawyer. If you're injured, trust the team that secured millions for their clients and helped thousands of Texans with their injury case. Car wrecks, slip and falls, 18-wheeler accidents, on-the-job injuries, and wrongful deaths. Don't let insurance tell you what your claim is worth. Hire Andre the lawyer to fight for you. Principal office is in Dallas, but they serve Texans throughout the state. So don't wait and call Andre the lawyer today at 214-444-8808. That's 214-444-8808. The contact information is in the description.
All right. Wide receiver. Ryan Wingo in that boundary spot. Khalil Lockett behind him. It's two big receivers that can do contested catch stuff. So that makes sense for the single side guy. Ryan Wingo, last year, freshman, you would see him run. It's just he catches your eye, man, when he's doing those crossers across the field, even if he doesn't get the ball. Incredible athlete. Now, of course, he was a true freshman, right? So the route running wasn't always good, wasn't always able to understand the leverages of DBs. Okay, that's fine. He's a freshman. Now he's a sophomore. Now he's a true starter. So what's the progression of Ryan Wingo in camp? We know he had an early setback with the dehydration thing, but what's the latest there now?
Yeah, he'll be listed in the top 10 players on the team. He's really good, high football character, all the traits to run routes. I don't know. It's one of the most overblown thing is it's one thing to critique him in a game last year, like it's November 5th, he just made a bad play, but to still be talking about that stuff like the guy's not getting better, it's annoying to me. So he's going to be good. Ian. I can't say anything more than I said. I think he's on a Rome Odunze path. I don't know what else I could say beyond that. I don't agree with anybody that's still worried about his mistakes. Now, every player makes mistakes, but it's not like he's got some major malfunction that he's never going to get over. I don't know. It's a waste of time to talk about that. He's going to be really good.
Route running is a skill, and skills can be developed. And so you would
expect a good route. He's a good for his body type. He's not going to run routes like somebody that's 5'11", 170 pounds. But for his body type, he can sink his hips. He can get low. I've seen this dude running routes. He works with good people. He works with the guys that work with all of the studs from St. Louis. He's a good route runner for his body type. It's just the things last year were more mental, and I'm not even 100% convinced they were always his fault. I think some of that might have been on QB1 too. So I'm not really worried about Wingo. Yeah, there might still be some growing pains because he's still a relatively young player, but he's going to be way better this year than he was last year, and he was still when he had the ball in his hands. I think Sark had some lost opportunities too, man. That's a guy you just want to get on the move, get the ball in his hands. It's not. I could diagram that play and tell the quarterback, throw it to him if you get this look.
Exactly. And now I'm going to see. He had laser surgery. He can actually see. He did that halfway blind out there last year. Come on, man. What are we doing?
He's known for having good hands on the team. So I have zero concerns about Ryan Wingo.
And he's going to face Igbinosun, who is is like a 6'2" corner, and like we said, fouls all the time. So the big key for Wingo, they do every trick. If you get by them, they're going to pull you. You're going to slow down. All their DBs are coached to use every defensive back trick. So the big thing for the wide receivers, my most important matchup on the offensive side, is they do every trick in the book. You can't get frustrated, and you got to be expecting them to try to throw you off your route with all the little tricks in the game. So that's going to be big. It's big receiver versus big corner. All right, where is Mosley, Eric? He would be at that Z spot, but he's not on here.
I don't know if he'd be Z. He'd probably be X. Mosley is on the sideline.
You think he's going to be the boundary?
Huh?
You think he'd be a boundary guy?
He's been working. That's where he was working the last time he was on the field, which was a while ago. He's nursing an injury. If he's back this week, I'll add him to the depth chart. I don't, he's missed so much of the fall camp. I don't expect him to play against Ohio State. Now, if that changes this week in practice, I'll alert people and, we'll make some changes. But this is based on the Ohio State game.
Cool. Behind him, Khalil Lockett, the freshman, had a good camp as well. If you watch his huddle, he made incredible catches all the time, going up over people. Once again, to make Eric mad, future is bright guy. But also, hey, man, do we see him in Ohio State, or do we see him in those next 3 games all the time?
I don't think we're going to see him against Ohio State. Just he's so young. I think the depth chart probably stops at 4 wide receivers for Ohio State. Maybe Lockett gets in there. I don't know. Hopefully, again, Texas is up 24 in the fourth quarter. Yeah, but he's a guy that goes up and gets it. I've likened him to Josh Doxson. Josh Doxson should still be, Texas fans should still remember him playing at TCU. A guy that plays longer than his height. Good route runner, but could really what he's known for is just making acrobatic catches over people and good body control, ball skills, all that stuff. Lockett's a solid route runner too. He's going to be a really good player. You got Wingo in front of him. And when we talk about rotation, it's not nearly the same on offense as it is defense, where the defensive depth chart discussion is a lot different.
We get our hopes up every year. We're like, maybe this is the year Sark plays 6 wide receivers and 10 personnel, and it never happens. All right, slot. DeAndre Moore, player we expect to break out. You saw big glimpses, big games last year. Mature leader. I was watching him in the spring game, just having to talk with fans when he was doing autographs. He's totally there and super engaging. So, and hit that slot fade with Arch versus Mississippi State. So first things first, let's talk DeAndre Moore in the slot.
Yeah, my source left him out of the top 10. It kind of broke my heart, put some cold water on me. I'm sitting here thinking he's a 3-year player. Hey, sources aren't perfect. I'm not going to discount my source. Obviously, I trust him enough to write what I hear from him. But Dalen is the mature leader in the room, willing blocker, does all those things. I think he's going to have a good year. What do you have, 39 catches and 7 touchdowns, and he's an Arch favorite. And Sark loves to call plays for a vertical slot when he has one, and I think he has one. And of course, he had LASIK as well, so maybe there's some hope with his hands being more consistent. We didn't really hear any issues in August or fall or spring camp, so I think he's going to have a good year.
We need a LASIK sponsorship, apparently. The official LASIK of University of Texas.
Yeah, like 8 dudes got it. It's the first thing they should test for when they get to campus.
I know. I'm surprised they let them not know that until it's a while in. All right. And then the freshman we've heard the most about, hands down, consistently throughout the whole year, is Dalen McCutcheon. So what's the latest there? You expect to see him a little bit.
Yeah. Well, Coach Dub knows him well, but he's another DeAndre Moore clone.
Yeah.
Coach, what do you think?
Man, look, I think Day when he gets this opportunity, he's going to surprise a lot of people who really don't know about him. Right? He wasn't as highly talented as the other guys coming in, but when he steps on the field, everybody's going to remember his name. I promise you that.
Cool. And then Michael Terry, the freshman as well. We were trying to figure out positional fit, and I was worried about his speed downfield until I saw the practice clips, and I was like, "Damn!" He can play it. So we don't expect to see Michael Terry a lot, but I know fans are excited about him. Another bright future type of guy with some versatility and the downfield ability as well. Okay.
Yeah, you said it.
Z, field receiver, Parker Livingston. I thought early, I was like, it's going to be Mosley, right? You're taking one transfer receiver. It makes sense, all that stuff. But, MIA for Mosley. So Parker Livingston, All the natural stereotypes. Be wary of the people that use all the white stereotypes for Livingston, because it's not true. He's a downfield threat, and he's fast. So now
he's not helping himself with that look, though.
I know he looks like he's from the 70s.
Yeah, I mean, if he shaved his head and got like a neck tattoo, we might think he's a little faster.
Yeah, but Livingston down. So now you have 2 wide receivers. Mosley's not really a big downfield threat. Livingston is. So now your guys on the outside can run go balls.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about this addition. And same guy. This was a camp guy that you kept hearing about. So what's the latest on old Livingston?
It's going to be wide receiver 3, 40 catches, something like that. Some big plays. I think when his number's called, he's going to make the play. I think he's going to be consistent as far as being in the right place at the right time. I think he's a sound blocker. A lot of the intangible stuff that they brought Mosley in for, I think Livingston has that same ability. And then he's going to get a lot of good looks. You got Wingo on one side, DeAndre Moore doing his thing all over the field from the slot. Jack Endries at tight end is going to be somebody that the middle of the field is going to have to be aware of. I think Livingston's going to be set up for success this year.
Yep, and some contested catch ability is going to be important because he's going to face Jermaine Matthews, who is their best cover corner. So he's going to have to get open a little bit more than even Wingo would against Igbinosun.
He's good running. He's good running little guy routes. He can really sink his hips. He can play small, which I mean that as a compliment. He can run the little guy routes, the in routes, the in breaks, the comebacks, the sideline stuff. He's got that ability.
Well, and Livingston having deep threat ability helps him underneath, right? Because now the comebacks are there, the sit downs, all of that stuff.
You press, and snap it off, and all of a sudden, you created separation.
Yep, I'm excited about Livingston. And then Aaron Butler, kind of weird in the void, right? You hear a good thing, and then you would hear lacks consistency, all that stuff.
It's just hands. The guy moves like he moves. When I talk about the little guy, the way the little guys move, not that Butler's really small, but that's how you expect a 6 foot, 180, 90 pound guy to move. He moves exceptionally well. It's just consistency. And I don't know how many times I've already said that word, that reliability, assignment, soundness, it's all the same thing. That's what Sark's looking for.
Yep. And then behind them, Jamie French, true freshman as well. Eric, I bet the future's bright with him. All right, guys, let's talk defense. Here we go, baby.
We didn't do tight end.
Oh, good point.
Yeah, you're over here.
And I'm excited.
I said, hey, guys, I got a busy day. All right, well, let's go spend 45 minutes before we even get to tight end.
We got to do it, man.
We can't leave this question unanswered. He is 6'3", my guy.
All right. Jack Endries, I don't know how I missed that because I love this guy. So in 11 personnel, Jack Endries, Spencer Shannon. I didn't expect that earlier in the year. Our 12 personnel guy. Jordan Washington, young, athletic, freaky, but keyword was young. So let's kind of talk about our main 3 guys in rotation with Endries and Shannon as the starters.
Yeah, Endries is out there in 11 personnel. He's out there in 12 personnel. Shannon I have ahead of Jordan Washington only because he's the starter in 12 personnel. So he would, he might be out there on the very first play of the season. And then Jordan Washington will play 11 or 12 personnel. They're going to play matchups here. It's going to, they're going to see, you'll see 12 personnel with Endries and Jordan Washington, and that's going to be a little bit of a giveaway to us, and it'll become a giveaway probably as the season wears on that they're going to throw from that 12. Correct. So there will be different looks. I think, look, like I said, this season, I said if Spencer Shannon has another offseason like he had last year, he's going to play, and he did. Well, obviously, it's kind of he's like their best option anyway to be an inline blocker. They'll still throw him some stuff just because it's easy to create space for him. We're talking about 6, 7, 8 yard gains, nothing big. But yeah, Shannon should be a solid contributor. Endries is going to be a stud. David Thomas, he's going to drop the first pass of the season though because I've been talking his hands up. And then Jordan Washington will play. Emery Winston just came back, and so I found that out after I asked for this graphic to be made. Is Winston on there? Probably not.
No.
Yeah. Okay. So. Yeah, I was getting text at 11:45 last night on this graphic, and I was half asleep. I forgot to tell him to put Winston on there. Winston is back and practicing. I don't expect to see him this game, but at least he's back and practicing.
Cool. And then Will Randall and Nick Townsend down low.
Yeah.
All right. Is Igbinosun a target if he's on Wingo? Dude can't cover. Yes, he is always a target, and sometimes you're going to throw at him not to complete, but to get 15 yards. He interviewed and said the big problem is he didn't get his head around, and they asked if he changed anything else, and he said no. turning your head around is not enough. And when you foul that much, it's because you lack skill. So you have to develop skill to cover to where you don't feel like you have to maul guys. So yes, that's the big key for Igbinosun. He needs to develop more.
Igbinosun's going to have, if they put him on Parker's really good at putting his hands out late. So he's not going to have any idea that the ball's coming. That's a skill that wide receivers have. You're running. You're not like this, running like this for a half hour, waiting for the ball to come in, because that's a tell for the DB to turn his head around. Yeah. Livingston's really good about putting his hands out at the last second.
Yeah, he got caught on by Matthew Golden a few times last year like that. He wasn't able to get his hands between because Matthew was so late with his hands.
Well, and Igbinosun's best skill is he's going to use you against the sideline and maul you. He's not as great covering in space. So if you want to put him up, the first thing you want to do is try to get him towards the middle of the field on end breakers, and it's a different ball game. You don't want to play that red zone game with him, though, because he is big and physical. Okay, defensive depth chart. Let's start interior. So we, of course, have more players on the field here that can be played, but that's because we're doing all the sub packages here, so you guys know what's up. Let's start with defensive interior. We have a situation where there's a nose tackle and defensive tackle on the field. That's what people are used to, 1 and 3 tech, and then another version where it's just 2 defensive tackles on the field, no nose. But let's talk nose tackle first. Travis Shaw, baby.
Oh, that should be changed. Shaw, no, it's going to be okay. So what I put in the article is different than the graphic. We did the graphic like Texas does, and I think they do it that way. So all these guys look lower on the depth chart or higher on the depth chart than they actually are. Because if they only break it up by 2 spots, oh my God, these guys are going to be like, I'm never going to play here. I would not start with Travis Shaw. Like I wrote last night, I would start with Cole Brevard and Hero Canoe. I think Brevard overtook Shaw late in the game. And so, yeah, I was surprised. I had Brevard starting all year, or when they got him, I figured he was a starter, and it didn't happen until late. And then Shaw has been really good, but somehow got past it. I guess they just like the matchup better with Brevard and Canoe. So some of that's the way it works, right? Which guys work well together.
Yeah.
Like Travis Shaw is more individually talented than Brevard, but Brevard is going to stop the run, and I guess Hero Canoe's doing a good job getting penetration, so they like that duo.
Canoe's been the coolest story of the season for me because I frankly thought he was going to be a depth guy, and that's not been the case. He's had a great camp, and like I said, Ohio State is hurting for losing him, man, on that interior D-line depth. So really excited here. And
it sounds like they're going to miss him even more than they realized because I did not expect him to start. Now, you say depth. I think you probably mean more rotational. I expected him to be a key piece in the rotation.
For sure.
Did not expect him to start. Again, he won this position in the offseason, right? The very first practice, he was out there with the ones. And that tells you, again, we talk about it a lot where, they're competing all offseason. They don't just compete when the pads are on. Right. He won this job and then held on to it. He won the job in the offseason and held on to it in August. Props to him.
Well, there's going to be psychological warfare because Hinsman, the center for Ohio State, says he has been learning German to trash talk, so the refs will not be able to call it out. So he's going to have to deal with his old buddies at Ohio State speaking obscenities to him in German. So I hope he's ready for the mental warfare that comes along with that.
They're worried about Cole Brevard. He dominated Ohio State last year at Purdue, so I think he'll get another taste of that.
Yeah, Cole's a good player. and he had a good offseason too. It might have been that whole thing where Kenny had to push him hard. Kenny Baker had to push him hard to play all these other gaps rather than just playing nose. I don't know. But, yeah, I feel good. I feel confident right now it's going to be Brevard and Canoe starting.
Cool. So that's when you're in that double kind of defensive tackle look, and then nose with Travis Shaw from your article.
Yeah, but Travis is going to play both. So last year, Texas might change the way they list their depth chart. Again, I'm doing it how they did last year where they would have Bill Norton at nose tackle on the depth chart. I think Travis – I put Travis Shaw there because it makes the most sense for him, but he could play anywhere from, nose out to – hell, that guy could probably even play 5 tech if they had to, but nose out to 3 or 4-eye.
Eric, are those hats still available for purchase?
Brandon, didn't you move back to Texas, Brandon? Hit me back, dude. I mean, not that I can't ship it wherever you are, but I'll send me a DM on IT, Brandon, and I'll send you one for being a long-term subscriber.
Cool. All right, and then now let's talk edge, man. This has been the coolest room to follow. A lot of
this is why we spent way too much time on offensive linemen. We got rotational guys we're going to see a lot of against Ohio State. You had me talking about a.
I was trying to speed it up for you, but all right, we'll do it at my pace.
I want to talk about D tackles, and you wanted to talk about offensive guards that aren't going to play. We got Alex January is going to play. Murad Watson's going to play. They got five. We got 5 D tackles.
So many bodies.
5 D tackles are going to play against Ohio State. Travis Shaw, Cole Brevard, Hero Canoe, Murad Watson, and Alex January.
Cool.
And they're going to mix and match them. So we can't shortchange those guys. Alex January is going to be a stud. Murad Watson, yes, he got named in my top 10 best players list. I was a little bit surprised, not by talent, but just by had he done enough yet. So you wanted to skip away from one of the top 10 players on the team. What the hell, dude?
How dare I? All right, we'll go with my usual style then. And then fans are going to ask off the bat, Justice Terry, what's up?
I don't expect to see him against Ohio State unless they just have some package that's built for that game. Yeah, I don't know. It's experience.
I remember some potential 3-down look or whatever earlier in camp we were talking about with him. But
they play the NASCAR look. Right now it's been Ethan Burke. Ethan Burke plays that D tackle when they go NASCAR and they just go. It's all about pass rush. And when they do that, let me see. They have Murad Watson they played Hero Canoe, Murad Watson, Travis Shaw, and Alex January have all been that lone defensive tackle. So it's hard for me to know who's going to be out there. I tend to think it would be Murad Watson in that NASCAR package next to Burke.
Whew.
I was just about to ask, how often do you think we rotate or mix and match our front seven?
Front seven. Well, I mean, it's not even front seven really anymore, but you're going to see a lot of D tackles play. Like those 5 are going to rotate. You'll see it later in the season, but it'll be like 2022 when they're back to rotating. 6 total guys at D tackle. I tend to think Colton Vasek is the third edge, regardless of what side it is. He could be a third behind Burke, or he could be the third behind Colin if Colin needs a break. I don't know that for sure, though. I just know that they've worked him a lot. But so many of those edges are ready to play. But it's going to be a totally different conversation when they play their first conference game than what they're playing now, trying to beat Ohio State. They're not going to go deep into the depth chart like they normally will. They will go deeper into the depth on defense and offense, certainly. But they want to get out of this. They're not going to Columbus just to create depth and get guys experience. They want to win the game. So they're not going to play as many guys as they normally do.
For sure. All right, Eric, are you good to go into edge?
I thought we were just there, but yeah, sure.
No, I want to talk the depth here, man. Okay, so Jack Edge,
because these guys are going to play.
I know. Yeah. They're going to be Jack Edge is our strong side edge. Normally paired up with a tight end, that kind of stuff, set the edge. Of course, these guys can all pass rush, but they're not the smaller, twitchier version. That's going to be the buck. Let's talk about Jack Edge, Ethan Burke, Vasek behind him, Lance Jackson.
That's three really good fits for that. Burke came in, played Buck earlier in his career, but he was always headed to Jack. I like those guys because there's never any wasted year for them, right? They're going to play Buck when they get there. They're going to add weight, and then they're going to go over to Jack. And Zena Umezulu is at Buck, but he could be considered the same exact sort of player, a guy that's big enough and athletic enough. He's athletic enough to play Buck, but really the body type screams Jack, where you have to be a little bit bigger, play with better leverage and strength at the point of attack. I expect a good season for Burke. If Burke blew up and became a second-round draft pick, it would not surprise me. But we just haven't seen enough for me to go out on a limb and say with great confidence it's going to happen. But he's been really good. Did he get named in my top 10? He might have been number 10 or maybe 11. He might have been one of the guys that just barely missed the top 10. So that tells you a lot about him. And then Vasek has even more upside than him. And then Lance Jackson, he's going to play a lot this year. I just don't think we're going to see him against Ohio State.
Yeah, I've heard
you could see Lance playing special teams against Ohio State.
I've seen some Ohio State guys be like, "Yeah, Texas has a pretty good edge room," and I'm like, "You need to do some research, man, because it's not a pretty good edge room. This is
the best in the nation."
Yeah,
everybody on there is. They moved Brad Spencer. I'm not sure about that, and Rogo's been hurt. But the first 6 guys are a lot of those guys are going to be in the NFL.
Yeah, of course, Buck Edge. Single side pass rusher, boundary, one-on-one with the tackle, that kind of thing. Of course, Colin Simmons. We feel like we don't talk about him that much because there's it's just a given how talented he is. We expect him to ball out. How's his progression though? He was already damn good. Yeah,
he's really good. He missed it. Remember, he missed a couple of those first practices at spring ball, and then just came back and just started wrecking shop every single day. That's just how he is, man. He's he's playing the run better, which I think is where he could show improvement, and he's gotten better in that regard. He's picked up some new tricks. Bringing in Lee Allen Clark is going to it's going to give him a little bit more in his repertoire for pass rush, and they're trying to more in a 3-point stance just to give him a little more quickness, which I'm not even sure how that's possible. But yeah, he's going to be really good. Here's a good question that I should answer for sure. Wasn't there a report that Zena's first step is almost as good as Colin Simmons, or am I just making that up? Nope, you're not making that up. We did report that. He's got the second best first step in that room. And he plays with good physicality for really good physicality for a buck, and then pretty good physicality for Jack. Zena has a really bright future, man. I can't, we're a lot of times we're really early on how good these guys are going to be. Zena is going to be a really good football player.
Everyone's got a bright future, man. This
Everybody,
team
right?
is loaded. David Keith Williams asks, is Zena a weak side end or strong side? Zulu is bigger than Colton Bosick, who is positioned as strong side defensive end. Eric said there's flexibility there. This is probably a way, too, to get your best guys on the field. You don't want Zena at number 3 and he could be number 2.
Yeah, you can't just lump them all behind each other. And even though I think he's listed as bigger than Colton, there's not a huge difference in their size. Colton is a little bit more physical, which would explain why he's at Jack and Zena's at Buck. But like I said, Zena can play Jack.
Brad Spence, linebacker from Arkansas, pass rusher specialty, and he has been moved down to that edge. Can be used situationally. So Brad Spence has been a fun player, an interesting player to follow throughout camp as well. Are there any final notes there, or just, yep, he's going to be a good pass rusher when he's in?
Solid player all around. I think that, there's probably a couple things you can do with him stunt wise. He does have the linebacker movement skills. They like to drop that buck position sometimes to bring his own blitz, and he's got really good athleticism for that look. So you can see him they'll like him in some ways more than they'll like him in others. And so, you might see him make a play, why isn't he out there more? Well, outside of Colin Simmons, it's like this just that play that he just made really suits his skill set. But he's a good player, a good pass rusher. He had some good reps against Kelvin Banks last year, and there's not a lot of people that have good reps against Kelvin Banks.
PK's going to throw some funky third down package in with him and Colin Simmons. They're both standing up. You don't know who's coming, who's dropping. You're in trouble. I don't know. I wouldn't want to play offensive line versus this group at all.
Yeah, the versatility is scary too. Okay, second level. We'll talk Mike and Will first because that's normally who's in on a 4-2-5, which is the modern base. It's not the technical base, but the modern base. Anthony Hill, baller. I really loved that clip where they put out of him on the field. His ability to communicate and lead was evident in that. That was important. Behind him right now, Trey Moore. Of course, Trey Moore was an edge for us. He came back. The goal has been to find Trey Moore a position in reps so he can develop for the NFL. So that's been interesting. But he has an oar here with the young Elijah Bo Barnes, who Coach can talk about after Eric gives us the latest on Hill and Trey Moore.
Hill is ready to blow up and play his best football. The first couple of years, especially the first year, is just kind of getting by on just being so athletic and such a sound football player to begin with. He was kind of just winning on intuition and kind of trying to make plays, but he's also a quick learner. I was talking to a former player that was on the field with him when he made that mistake against Wyoming. We all remember that freshman play. He just got out of his run fit. Guy runs off 60 yards or whatever. And then you never saw him make that play again. The player that I was talking to, he's just such a smart football player. He learns really quick. He's coming into his own as far as that Mike linebacker leader, the really smart football player, not just athletic and physical and doing freaky things. He can do some things mentally as well. You might be the best player on the team. And then Trey Moore, obviously he's kind of like where Hill was before, where he can get by on just understanding the game at a higher level. Maybe he doesn't know all the intricacies of playing Mike necessarily, but he's just a smart, intuitive football player with good movement skills for the position. And then obviously there's a ton of versatility with Moore.
Cool. Coach, what do you think about Bo Barnes, man?
Barnes has earned the right to get some reps at linebacker. I don't know how many he's going to get versus Ohio State if he gets any at all. I know he'll play special teams, but he's earned the right to, be a substitution change for Hill, depending on the situation to come in. So he's been getting better ever since the offseason. I feel like the light bulb came on. He got his weight down a little bit, trimmed down a little bit. He did well in some scrimmages and practices. So Barnes is definitely a player of the future, though.
Cool. And then Will LaFau, and then Ty Anthony Smith. And there was a little bit of push there from Ty Anthony Smith, but it seems right now that LaFau was able to hold him off. So what's going on at Will?
Yeah, I don't know if that was as much of a push as we thought, as opposed to just giving Ty some really good reps at Will. He's going to play a lot. Don't get me wrong; he's going to play a ton. I'm not sure that after talking to some people last night, I'm not sure that LaFau's job was ever in any danger. But they love Smith. I would say he has probably more long-term upside than. Man, he's got a lot. He's got first-round potential. They don't even take linebackers in the first round. But LaFau's, that experience advantage is real. And Ty still needs to add a little bit of weight. But he's going to be really good. Let me get to this question real quick from David Keith Williams. Do you think this project of playing Trey Moore at linebacker when he's played his entire career at Will and Spence at weak side defensive end when he's played his entire career at linebacker is going to work? Well, that's not exactly accurate. Trey Moore should have been at linebacker probably the whole time if the goal was to make the NFL. But at UTSA, when he can get 13 and a half sacks, they're going to play him on the edge and let him wreck a game from one side of the football. And Spence played edge a fair amount at Arkansas, and they played edge entirely in high school. So it wasn't like he came in as a ready-made linebacker. They feel like Brad Spence can pin his ears back and play faster at edge, and he was overthinking things at linebacker. He has the athleticism to play linebacker, but he's overthinking, wasn't playing fast enough, wasn't processing fast enough. You talk about the 5 guys that they have there. 4 of them have pretty fast processors, and so he wasn't going to beat them out as far as being ready to play linebacker for them this year.
Cool. And then a role for Trey Moore, an independent role where he's not, second string on anything, is Sam linebacker, meaning you take the nickel off the field. And I think that's a great position for Trey Moore as well. And then Ty Anthony Smith.
Yeah, because that is a hybrid of playing linebacker and playing edge. It's perfect for him. And sometimes you do have to drop that position. Maurice Blackwell played it at 220 pounds, and they would drop that guy because, there's certain situations where you still want some sort of nickel flexibility. Obviously, he can never play nickel in a million years, but he's credible enough as the dropper that you can do a lot of things with him at Sam. That's a really good fit for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Versus Ohio State last year in the playoffs.
We saw Jet Bush ball out playing Sam in 2023. Now imagine Trey Moore playing that position.
Yeah. Yeah, that Texas Tech interception off the foot or whatever is a legendary play. Okay. Defensive backs. Let's start.
Where to begin? Because a lot of these guys are going to play Saturday.
All right, cool. Let's start. You good with starting at safety?
Yeah.
Let's go. Well, there's so many factors with the safety.
Hold on. I just got to clear this up, man. If Anthony Smith was the size of Anthony Hill, I would agree that he would have first round. Well, okay, but we're not talking about him being drafted this year. He's going to gain weight. He came in at Texas at 200 pounds. He's not done gaining weight.
All right.
Come on.
Free safety. Derek Williams, we saw what he could do in the OU game. Tragic injury. Then earlier in camp, it was trying to figure out, how much is he back to form. But it's cool to see him starting free safety here because there was all these kind of movement potentials. We'll talk about that. But Derek Williams, how are you feeling right there on the high perch, the Raptor?
I feel good, but I'm curious to watch him this week against elite athletes at wide receiver. He's got to knock off in-game rust coming back from injury. He's not a better safety right now than Jelani McDonald. I have Jelani behind Taft because he's been going back and forth between safety and star, and so they're not going to have him starting at safety if he's also going to go to star. But I think Jelani would be a better option if they didn't need him against different personnel packages at nickel. So I'm curious to see how Derek looks. We've heard good things. The coaches obviously feel good about him. If they were terrified about it, Jelani would obviously be starting.
For sure. Phil Sami, player that came in really raw athletic ability, but didn't really know what was going on. But he seems like one of those players that has came a long way and is starting to figure it out. So interesting there for Phil Sami.
Yeah, okay. Light bulb is starting to come on. It's flickering. At least he's going to play this year a good amount. He might even play Saturday.
Cool. Then we got that walk-on Michael Taft at boundary safety. We'll see if he can hold up there. But we got Taft, leader of the defense, baller, likes to run and hit. Little when he hits, sometimes it doesn't look great, but he's always there, man. So Michael Taft going to be the leader. We don't really need to add much there. We know what's up with him.
Well, the curious thing is who they put in the posts this week. Do they put Williams? Do they put Taft? We have to stay tuned. Yeah, Taft's a great player. McDonald is an exceptional player as well. It's they've got a good situation at safety for this season, but it's good to have depth too, because the way Taft throws his body around, and this works a couple different ways. He could miss time for a couple reasons, right? He almost got kicked out of at least one game, maybe 2 games last year. And then he plays a physical style of football and even though he's not the biggest, thickest guy. So Jelani's going to have a really good year. We're not exactly sure, what the distribution is going to be between safety and star, but Jelani's going to be a star. I don't know. I mean star is like a superstar in college football. Is it this year or is it next year?
Yeah. And then, like I said, they got their hands full. Do we go too high? And if you listen to the Ohio State side, they're constantly saying we've been working to make sure Texas doesn't shut down our receivers like they did last time. And Jeremiah Smith doesn't have, 2 catches or whatever. So Ohio State all offseason has been trying to solve for how the Texas secondary was able to shut them down last year. Okay, cool. Jelani McDonald, like we said, someone makes a comment. Jelani's situation confuses me. Popular pick to blow up and be drafted after this year, but also doesn't seem to have a locked-in position. I trust it's fine, but I'm confused about the plan here. It's more of a function of the nickel position and the interplay between the secondary with Jelani than Jelani being good enough.
Yeah, Jelani did this last year against Michigan. He played safety and star, but did he start at safety? No. And did he start at star? No. But he's going to play half the game at one position and the other half at the other. He's going to play a ton. So they're just trying to get the most out of him. He's a very, very versatile player. So if you want to go with a bigger nickel, so he allows you to stay in nickel even at times, not always, but he allows you to stay in nickel when the other team goes in 12 personnel. That's a massive advantage. Yeah.
All right, Jordan Johnson-Rubel, another younger player that's had good marks early on, knowing what was up. So you could see some JJR here in the following 3 games. Okay.
He's going to play. Yeah, he's going to play a lot this year. Mentally, a little bit more advanced than Filsaime. Maybe, not quite the athlete. Obviously, Filsaime's the fastest.
Freaky.
He's the fastest DB they have, and he's a safety. That doesn't happen often. But Jordan Johnson's going to play a lot. Those first 5 safeties, we might see all 5 of them against Ohio State.
Yep. And then Zealous Hicks, we know a reclass, young player. Expect to see more from him in the coming years.
Yeah, going to be a good one. I hope Ohio State is basing their whole plan off of this. Another Texas Forum YouTube channel said this morning that Taft is the starting nickel. That caught me off guard. Hopefully Ohio State sees that and adjusts accordingly.
Yep. All right. Cool. And then noticeably missing from this list, Eric, Jonah Williams. What's going on there?
Well, this is for the Ohio State depth chart.
Yep.
And why is he not on the Ohio State depth chart for our fans?
Hamstring.
There we go. All right, cool. Let's do corner and star. Let's talk star because of the interplay. Grayson Littleton, freshman, smart kid, watches interviews, also watches huddle. So he gives us more of the ability to guard faster slots. You could have he's what you call a little nickel. And then the big nickel, if you're in 12 personnel or a slower slot receiver, that's when you can get your Jelani McDonald bigger guys. But they are going to be facing Ennis in the slot. So you're going to need a faster slot. This is also going to be a really tall task, man, for a freshman, even though it's once again, quote unquote, a bright future thing. But all we've heard is great things about Littleton. So what's going on there, Eric?
Oh, man. Why can't Charlie have this one? I
love Littleton. Here we go. Look. Hey, I don't think Ennis can get a slot fade open versus Littleton. I think he covers the slot fade well. He does a lot of things downfield well for a young guy. So I think he's way more mature than his age. I think he plays well beyond being 18. Look, Eric gave him a nickname already. So, hey, man, if you earn a nickname as a freshman already, I think you're a hell of a player.
But, hey, so Ennis reminds me of Christian Clark. And you're right. That's not going to be the guy that probably runs by. I mean, the Clark was fast.
Y'all are going to get us clipped, dude. Y'all are killing me.
I am worried about him playing in his first start at a tough position. Yeah, it's a mentally taxing position, and to be such a young player. But the coaches, you just have to trust the coaches, right? Jelani McDonald, I have second string here. He would be first string if they were playing some team that's going to known to run 2 tight ends. But and maybe if Ohio State comes out and does that, we'd see it. Or if Littleton struggles, we can see that too. But yeah, Littleton. If the most talked about freshman all off season outside, it's him or Dalen McCutcheon. And so, there's a lot of hype around it. The hype, he's lived up to the hype already if the coaches are going to start him, right? I mean, that's
For sure.
The coaches see something very bright with him. And the nickname, of course, is Gridlock. He's got to go earn that on the field, but he got a head start by getting an I-35 tattoo on his bicep.
I was gonna say he got a prison nickname pretty much immediately, so he's got to be for something. But yeah, this is a big matchup to watch, guys. The star position versus the Ohio State slot, and also, guys, let's remember they don't play Ennis here 100%. Jeremiah Smith moves to the slot, so.
True.
It's not a clear matchup. And if they know they got a freshman, they're going to find matchups. So that's the trick. I feel much more comfortable here with any freshman starting with the 3 games of lightweight. But, man, it's a different thing with Ohio State. Position to watch 1,000%. And then Wardell Mack, it's not like we were hearing bad things about him either. It's just Littleton's balled out. And then, of course, we know about McDonald. So Wardell Mack can also get some reps. I don't know about Ohio State, but the coming 3 games.
Yeah, Wardell. I mean, they would play Wardell versus Ohio State.
Cool.
I don't know. Again, it's just not ideal to have your. Well, here's another data point. They feel better about Littleton there than they do about Gilbo. So there's a source of confidence.
Cool. Cornerback Manny Muhammad returning. Fans got mad at him because of a couple of playoff games. Don't expect that to continue. Eric says expect a breakout here from Malik Muhammad.
Yeah, fans are just all over the place. After his freshman year, they thought he was going to be better than Jahdae Barron, and now that he's never going to be good again. Even though he was good the last time we saw him, he was really good against Ohio State. Here we are playing Ohio State again. So let's see if he can have another game like he did last time. I think he will. Now, here's the thing: cornerback is a little different than safety, where they play. It depends on who they're matched up with. Like you'll see Muhammad in the boundary, you'll see Muhammad in the field. You'll see Jalen Gilbo playing both as well. Kobe Black, if he's out there, he's probably going to be in the boundary. So it's going to be Warren Roberson more in the field than in the boundary. So it's hard to know exactly how the pairings are going to work out, but this is pretty much how it's been in practice.
Thank you, Sugar Cane Daddy. Not the Crop changes his name every week. I appreciate it. How big of a jump is possible for Manny?
Second rounder, maybe first round. I've had him as a second rounder coming out of high school. That was my projection on him. It reminded me of Byron Murphy, the one that played at Washington, not the one that played at Texas. And that Byron went in the second round. I don't think he's going to go out there and run like a 4.4 flat, so that will hurt him. But I could see him being a second round draft pick.
Cool. And before I go down the depth chart just at this position, I really just want to talk about first like the corner rotation. So let's jump over to Jalen Gilbo. As well. What's the latest there? Eric's clarified that it's not like a speed or a foot thing. It's just sometimes double moves or something like that can get him. So what's going on with Gilbo?
Yeah, just getting comfortable playing out there again. He's got the speed, physicality. He's got a lot of that stuff. But so much of that you win with technique and discipline, eye discipline. You got to play the right technique you got to match your technique to the play call. And, that's something Malik Muhammad is really good at. Something I think Gilbo is still working on.
Cool. And then the third corner is Kobe Black, who was, pushing Gilbo throughout camp. So how are you feeling there?
Yeah, I mean, they're going to defer to the veteran, but Black's got a chance to win that job, over the next month. We'll see if he can do it. There's a lot of excitement about Kobe Black.
Cool. Jumping back over to the depth on Manny Muhammad's tags. What can you tell us about the 3 guys below him?
Warren Roberson has been really, really good. I think normally they go to 3 cornerbacks. I wouldn't be surprised if they play 4 cornerbacks this year. Roberson, obviously we've seen him a lot on special teams. He's made some mistakes, but he's really got he's got a lot of twitch. He's a dog. He's got pretty good ball skills. He'll hit you. There's just a lot of really good tangible and intangible things going on. But again, what I've said a million times, got to get experience, got to become more reliable. They feel like he's becoming more reliable. They feel like he's been gaining experience out on the field via special teams. He's a guy that was making noise the second he got on campus. They took him in last in the class. It was the last guy. They just felt like, well, we can't pass on this guy. We'll hate ourselves if we pass on him. He's got all the attributes you want. Just has to put it all together.
Cool.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites there, man. I love that kid. Absolutely, dog.
And then Eric, what about your favorite guy?
Cade Phillips?
Yep.
I mean, I love Caleb Chester too from that class. Both those guys, live like 5 minutes from each other. Cade is going to be really, really, really good. I would not be surprised if he starts next year. I would be surprised if he plays against Ohio State.
Think it's going to be Black and Phillips next year starting at corner?
I think so, but I also can't discount Roberson for all the reasons that I just mentioned. But Phillips just, when I started hearing that he's pretty technically sound. I was not expecting to hear that when he got to Texas, and then that he's got the length and everything else. So yeah, I think Cade and Kobe, and then that gives them kind of their dream of having two guys that are 6'2" out there with really long arms.
Coaches are obsessed with that, dude.
Man.
Like they're obsessed with big corners, man.
Yeah, but long arms. That's a real.
It's like across every team. Every team is like, did you know our corner 6'3"? It's like, okay, can he cover?
Yeah, right.
And a lot of times you see these guys are 6'1" or whatever. Ty Anthony's a good example, but that's he's like 6'3" when it comes to arm lengths.
Cool. Soto, good morning. Joined late. Did you go over all the offense? If so, who are the projected starts?
How do you think we got here for an hour and 15 minutes?
Just whenever we wrap, Manuel, just go to it. You'll see the entire offense. You'll know all the starts, all of that stuff.
Yeah, right.
Okay, I want to talk real quick, fast special teams because we got some things to interest there. How do you feel at kicker? He's coming from a small school background. Now he's about to be in front of 100,000 angry Ohio State fans, and then also punter seems exciting. I think he will actually be able to determine some outcomes with his punting ability. So let's talk about the guys that use their legs.
Yeah, I'm not vouching for Mason Shipley. I get asked about him all the time. I'm just, whatever. I'm not good leg. He hasn't been the most consistent in practice. He's about to kick in front of entirely different crowds. It's like go pitch to your dad in the backyard and then go pitch in front of 50,000 fans in the World Series. It's entirely different. I don't know how the guy's going to react. Baumeister, awesome leg, secret weapon, absolute stud, going to be a difference maker at times. He has punting skill. We'll pin him at the 5.
Yep.
Big leg, big hang time, going to help flip the field. It's going to be, I think they're going to play a lot more complimentary football this year, and he's a big part of that.
And he made some punts last year at like actual critical moments where they needed to do something. You can watch him versus BYU and stuff. So situationally, but also game situationally, at big moments, he made nice punts. And yes, I did research on punting.
He got named in the top 15 players on the team.
No, he's a baller, dude.
He's a baller.
Yeah, he was making legit plays, and punters matter in that regard. Okay, and then kick return, punt return. Who are we looking at?
It's the same across the board. You got DeAndre Moore, Ryan Niblett, Dalen McCutcheon for both.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if DeAndre will be back there by himself. Maybe they have somebody out there to sort of lead block with him. I could see them doing something like Christian Clark or whatever, but it would be, that's just like having a lead blocker like Jordan Whittington used to do. I think Trey Wisner did it for a little bit too. But yeah, right now, they had did they use Matthew Golden? Who was the kick returner late last year?
Yeah, Matthew did return. He almost returned one versus Georgia a few times. Right. Yeah, he was back there.
If they had Golden back there, then they're probably going to have DeAndre Moore back there. Even if he becomes sort of indispensable.
Do we expect more aggression in the punt game, punt block wise?
Yeah, I think so. He's going to be able to put some of those athletes out there that he would kind of queue up for a big play. I would not be surprised to see Trey Wisner playing special teams Saturday just because they want to get the dub. Last year they took him off special teams. Ditto Taff. So I think they are going to go harder in the bigger games, especially in the higher leverage situations. Special teams is already fixed. It's just, we all want to see it. And then of course, a lot of teams will overweight for the kicker. If the kicker misses a field goal, I'm going to hear, I thought you said special teams was fixed. It's not based on one kicker, but I'm really bullish on the special teams this year.
Yeah, I know we got Banks, but Akina's back. I don't know if everybody remembers when he was here before. Like, dudes used to relish at being on the punt block team and getting after the best athletes to start it. So I think you may see some of that again.
Cool. Any final thoughts? Are we guys good to go? I know Eric's got a long, busy day because he's getting ready for all these tailgates that we're about to hit. So I'm
happy
excited.
hours, well, man, we turned 40, so we got to do it up. Happy hours the next couple days.
Yep.
Houston location is in the description. I'll just say it real quick. Everybody knows the spot. It's the West Loop and I-10 near IKEA, Big City Wings. The guy that owns it, my boy Sam, he's a very good. I run into Sam all over the place. Concourse in the state. I could be Ann Arbor. I think I've ran into him in Alabama. Sam's a good buddy. He has a very that dude loves Texas. He's actually hosting the Texas X's Houston chapter watch parties this season. So Sam is a big time Horn. Can't wait to hang out with him tomorrow night.
Good stuff, guys. Come hang out. Also, come hang out digitally, InsideTexas.com. You guys can join for $1 for your first week, and as a bonus, you get a complimentary year to The Athletic. Buy Paul's book, 2025 Longhorn Football Prospectus, Thanking Texas Football. All links to purchase are in the description, digital, physical. That was fun, guys. I always love the depth chart videos. It's real, guys. We're in it now, and now we got 4 months of our heads are down. But I'm nervous. I'm excited. I'm all the emotions. I'm really looking forward.
Don't be nervous. Just rely on your training.
It doesn't. There's nothing you can tell me.
Rely on your training.
Archmania season, man. Let's go.
It does not matter when it is 10:30 before the game. I will be nervous no matter what.
Yeah,
I think I'm running down on kickoffs apparently, but it gets me every time.
Hey, try having your credibility on the line too. It's not just the team. You want the team to do well for about 100 different reasons, but then you just want to be right as well. Even when you're a little bit negative on stuff, you're like, you hope your reporting's accurate.
Yeah, but you don't get in trouble. Well, I guess you do, but it's like if you're negative and wrong, the fans are really going to give it to you. If you're positive and wrong, they're more like, it's all good. I wanted to hear positivity.
They're just waiting. They're waiting on Twitter to tag one of us. Trust us.
That means Ian's set up for success this year.
Yeah, Ian has a lot of success. Go watch that debate video we just dropped. People really like it. All right, guys. Eric, thank you. Coach Dub, chat. We got a lot of great content coming this week, guys. We are officially in season, gearing up to get that win versus Ohio State. And this was IT Live, brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Have a great day, everybody.